Hey guys, my name's Greg Johnson. I'm the athletic director at West Florence High School. I want to welcome you to our first ever video spring meeting. We're doing it this way just because I didn't want to have you guys come up here and sit for an hour and hear a speech you've already heard. For you people that are new to spring sports or new to our athletic program, there's a lot of valuable information here. If you've heard this before, it doesn't hurt you to hear it again. So thank you for giving us your attention for a little bit. I want to go through this PowerPoint with you and share a few pieces of information. So this first slide is just my contact information. I think it's important for you guys to have my information. My cell phone is 843-617-0187. You are not bothering me by calling and texting me. I'm not going to answer you after probably 10:30. I'm not going to answer you before 6 a.m. Don't take that personally. That's just some rest time. You're welcome to call my office, but my office forwards to my cell phone. So just go ahead and take my cell phone number down. That again is 843-617-0187. My email is gjohnson@fsd1.org. The other person on this slide is Skylar Wise. Skylar used to work here, and I guess some people don't know that she does not work here still. Skylar actually works for the University of South Carolina now. She's on the recruiting staff and is doing a fantastic job, but please don't bother Skylar with our West Florence request. She is super busy. But anyway, she's here sometimes just kind of as a visitor and as a fan, but she does not work here anymore, so please call me with your athletic issues. This next slide is Alex Holbrooks. He's our athletic trainer. As you can see, his information is on the screen here. I'm checking on my screen. Alex is our athletic trainer at West Florence exclusively. He does a great job. You need to know that he is not a West Florence High School employee. He's an employee of McLeod Health. That means that his decisions are not based on his paycheck. Does that make sense? So, like, I don't want anybody to say, well, of course he wants an employee, they want to win. No, that's not true. Alex's best interest is your kid's best interest. So the most important thing to know about Alex is if your kid is injured during an activity, playing sports at West Florence, the worst thing you can do is skip him and go to the hospital, go to the emergency room. Alex, as a McLeod employee, can get you straight in to see orthopedics in the case of a break. He can get you into specialists, that kind of thing. That's his job. They work together, and so that's something easy for him to do. Additionally, when you skip Alex in the process, you're also skipping the liability insurance that we provide, the secondary liability insurance. And so we need to document injuries. We need to make sure we're going to Alex. Alex is fantastic at what he does. And so I want you guys to go to him with any injuries. I also want to share his cell phone number with you. If you need Alex, his number is 864-784-2033. That's all we got to say about athletic trainers. So if you haven't heard by now, our athletic program has 4 goals. We work really hard every day to make sure we meet all these goals. Number 1, win in the classroom. We'll talk more about that in a second, of how we have done that and continue to do that and will continue to do that. Number 2, I want to win in relationships. I'll explain that as well on another slide. Obviously, I want to win in the community, and I think when you do all 3 of those things, number 4 comes easy. And so we'll talk about all those things kind of as we go, but I like people to have nice little clear documents of, hey, this is what we're doing. Tell you what we're going to do before we do it, and then do it. So let's talk academics here. First thing, if you're watching this, your kid's already made the team and they are eligible. I do want to describe the 5-2 PA rule to you. What that means is to be eligible, you have to have passed 5 classes in the previous school year. You have to have passed a minimum of 2 classes in the previous semester. The PA is for middle schoolers and high school freshmen. PA means you were promoted academically to the next grade as opposed to promoted socially. Number 2 on this sheet, we do what's called weekly grade checks on Monday mornings by 10 a.m. I'll send your coach, your respective coaches of every team, a report of everybody that has a grade of 69 or below, so to identify all D's and F's. We do that to kind of monitor, to inspire, to get in kids' butts. Hey, you gotta do a little better on this. If you're on that list for 3 weeks in a row, you and I are going to have a conference. Why is this grade not going up? What's happening here? Parents will involve you probably after 2 or 3 weeks just to make you aware this is the situation. Now, I always get this question, am my kid going to be suspended? No, absolutely not. We trust that we can get it right, and our history and our record speaks for itself in that we are going to get it right. We just want to keep coaches aware of what's going on with their players. We want to keep players aware that we know we're watching their grades. Number 3, if you're a transfer student athlete, so if you're a baseball player that came from wherever school, you need to get with me immediately so we can do transfer paperwork. That's an eligibility issue, and so we need to knock those out early next week. If you're a homeschool student, double check with me and make sure that I have your grades, and we can verify that again because eligibility is due soon. And that's all we got for that slide. Let's go to the next one. I've already touched on some of this, but grade checks are sent every Monday. Students in 3 weeks, all that kind of stuff. So far this year, we have had 49 scholar athletes named to the South Carolina High School League Scholar Athlete Award. Our goal for the year was 50. We got 49 in the fall, so that's a huge, that's the most we've ever had at West Florence, a huge accomplishment, so pat on the back to you guys. We've also had six consecutive semesters with a 4.0 average GPA in our athletic program. In the fall, we had a 4.23, again, a new record for us. So academics are coming first. That's not just words, that's action. This next slide is about winning in relationships. This is kind of the hardest one to define, and what we coaches talk about when we have our meetings. We talk about we're training adults, and what this means, winning in relationships. If you're going to miss a day of practice, I don't want mom calling the coach and going, well, my son's going to be out tomorrow. He's got a doctor's appointment. That's all well and good, and thank you for your communication, but we want the kids to do it. I want the kid to go to the coach and say, hey, coach, just FYI, I've got a makeup test tomorrow. 4 o'clock, I'll be done by 4:30, and I'll be out there as soon as I can. The communication aspect from student athlete to coach or student athlete to teacher is important. If you're going to be signed out early on Tuesday because we're going to the beach, teachers need to know. And I'll email them to get you out of class, but I want you to email them and say, hey, FYI, I'm going to be gone this week. We're leaving early. Can I get my assignments in writing so I can knock it out early, that kind of stuff. This next bullet point says no mothers play for West Florence. We've had a lot of kids go, well, my mom messed up my plan in high school. Your mom don't want to play here. You want to play here. This is your responsibility. We don't blame mamas and daddies. We don't blame anybody else. I want you to learn to accept responsibility. That's a big, big thing for us. No novel text. What that means is sometimes a coach will get a text that you have to do this like 4 or 5 times to get to the bottom of it. Don't do that. Have a conversation. Have a face-to-face conversation. That's part of growing up. It's part of being an adult, is what it is. If you don't watch anything else on this, the most important thing that I want to talk about on this whole presentation is this slide right here. It's the parent-coach relationship slide. A couple bullet points. Number 1, communicate. Excuse me. Communication is a two-way street. Make sure you have your coach's number. Make sure the coach has your number. It's important to have emergency contact stuff just in case of injury, of emergencies, that kind of stuff. We need to be able to communicate. Those lines are open. Keep it respectful, obviously. Most important thing I'm going to say, we don't talk about playing time. My coach makes a living based on 16 and 17-year-olds' emotions sometimes, and his or her paycheck is coming from his ability to win games or her ability to win games. I can say the same thing for myself. My wife says it's a foolish way to make a living, but I enjoy it. If I think that my best chance to win ball games and to better kids and do everything the right way is by playing this lineup at this time, that's my decision. And parents and fans should respect that. I have not ever once gone into an insurance agency and said, hey, you're selling insurance wrong. Or I've never gone into a lawyer's office and saying, you're dumb and I could do it way better. It's unbelievably disrespectful. It's a wild thing to do. It's becoming far too common in 2022. Please understand the relationship is, can you question things? Absolutely. But it's not your place to say my kid should be playing more. This is not travel ball. This is not AAU. This is high school sport at the most competitive level in the state. And we've done a really good job here doing a lot of good things. And your input is welcome, but you're not going to get a say-so in playing time. Communicate the right way. So let's say that we do have an issue of, you think your kid is being treated poorly, or if you think that you don't like X, Y, or Z. If you want to request a meeting, fantastic. Let's meet. I want to be a part of it. I want to be part of the solution. I don't want to be a part of the wine fest, but I do want to be a part of the solution, as well as the coach needs to be a part of the solution. So we need to meet together. Lastly, chain of command. What that means is if you have an issue with our program, let's follow the chain of command. Let's try to talk to the coach. Let's try to talk to me. We can usually solve 99% of the problems here. If you have a huge issue, let's go to the principal through me. The worst thing you can do is email a board member or email Dr. O'Malley and say, I got this huge issue. Because all they're going to do is come back and call me and say, what's going on? So the sooner we include us in the equation, makes it a lot easier. Let's talk discipline for a second. It should go without saying, but I obviously need to say it. School rules apply at sporting events. That includes stuff like dress code. So if we go to a track meet, I don't expect girls to be walking around with little cut-off shirts. I don't expect boys to be walking around sagging their pants, that kind of stuff. And so don't forget, when you're at a track meet, when you're at a baseball game, softball game, soccer match, whatever, you're still a student at West Florence and you're still representing us. And so do things the right way. You should know also that student athletes are held to a higher standard because they're student athletes and they can face additional punishments. For example, if you get caught vaping in the bathroom, you are probably going to get a day of suspension. You're also probably going to run until you don't want to vape anymore. That's our right as the athletic department. We want to remind you you're treated with special treatment, and you're going to be punished with special treatment also if you don't do things the right way. You have too much power as a student athlete to represent me and the school board and Dr. O'Malley and all of the 1,700 students here. You got to act right, and we won't make any apologies for that. Let's keep talking about discipline. On the next slide, I asked my coaches to be consistent in their discipline. I asked for them not to treat everybody equally, but to treat everyone fairly. I tell them to be firm but fair. The old coaching phrase is hug them afterwards. Your kid's going to be coached hard. I insist on being coached hard because we want to win. But we also want to do things the right way, and sometimes you're going to have bosses that work you hard. That's life. So we're okay with that. Let's talk about school discipline not being the final discipline. Never mind, we've already talked about that. We're doing good on time so far. Kids, make good choices on social media. Coaches, I tell my coaches the same thing. Make good choices on social media. We'll talk more about this later. You could obviously face consequences if you're not doing that. We will not tolerate profanity from players or coaches. No tobacco use or alcohol use from players. No smoking, including vapes, smokeless tobacco, that kind of stuff. And so there are obviously, again, school rules, and so we're going to enforce that as we see fit. Spring sports, it's always a concern with spring break. Let's make sure we're doing the right thing, making good choices, not going to all these huge parties at the beach, and make sure you're making good choices. Don't forget, even when you're on spring break, you represent our program, and that's a huge responsibility. Coaches will keep attendance of all practices. If you are not at practice, you should not expect to play. That's the bottom line. It wouldn't be fair to everybody else, and so that's the end of our discipline talk. So let's talk playing at high school. You guys, 99% of you have done a really good job with playing at high school. It gets easier every year, I promise you. If you feel bad about having to do playing at high school, if you hate playing at high school, I can assure you it's worse when you have 800 kids doing it. Every sport so far has some things missing. We're pretty good for the most part. I know softball is all the way done, but if there's a homeschool student that I don't have the grades for yet, that would be the kind of thing that we need to get in quickly. So let's talk about promoting the program. We, meaning West Florence, will promote the program. We don't want stuff coming from our individual coaches. We don't like having accounts like West Florence Baseball or all that kind of stuff. One centralized source of information that allows us to control the narrative, to promote good news, all that kind of stuff. Keep going down the slide. We do this on the school website. That's f1s.org/West Florence Knights, as well as social media on our Instagram and our Twitter. The West Florence Athletic Booster Club runs our Facebook page, or runs their Facebook page. What public versus private means, if you have opted out on your AUP form and you don't want your kid to be used on the internet for promotion of the program, 100% you're right, we respect that. However, you should know if there is a game, I'm trying to say this right, if there's a game being played and it's open to the public, we're selling tickets. That means that if a photographer comes, takes a picture, they can put that on their website. So the Florence Morning News might come take a picture. Even if you've opted out, they can still use the pictures because that's an open forum. We will not emphasize JV as much. That's not personal. It's just a reward to our older kids to be emphasized. I know those guys are doing the right things. By the time they get to the varsity, I know those kids a little better, so we want to promote. We like to equally promote, not just use one kid over and over and over again, and make sure you're following us on social media. We're going to keep going. Speaking of social media, we'll promote the program using Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We already said that. Personal accounts should be monitored. What that means, me as the athletic director, I don't need to be putting stuff on my Twitter or my Instagram or my Facebook that makes us look bad. That's not fair to you. It's not fair to anybody. And so we ain't going to do that. As far as everything else goes, I think we've touched on social media. We do have our media day on Saturday. We're going to take some pictures. Mr. Alex Bergfeld's going to help us out. You should also know that senior banners are going to be taken February the 24th at 2 p.m. That's senior banners, February 24th, 2 p.m. Let's talk about travel. We provide transportation, obviously, and we're going to put your kids on the bus. We have a lot of bus drivers that are capable and willing, and so we do ask you, coaches and players, to keep those buses clean. However, if you don't want to ride the bus, you got an issue. Like I'm gonna use Andrew Love for an example. Let's say that Andrew's family is going to the beach for the weekend. So when we play Myrtle Beach on Friday night, they're going to make it a long weekend. It's 100% okay. He is going to turn in the parent waiver because he's going to ride with a parent to that game or from that game. And so it's just a form you can get off of our website, f1s.org/West Florence Knights. Scroll to the very bottom. It says parent waiver. If you want to drive your kids, 100% your business. I'm not going to fight you on that. There's also a student driving waiver. Let's say I'm going back to Andrew Love. Let's say Andrew's going to Myrtle Beach and he wants to drive himself. I'm not crazy about long distance trips in the dark by yourself and all that kind of stuff, but you're the parent. I'm not crazy about that. I don't like long stuff. Now, if they want to drive to Wilson or if they want to drive to South, again, your business, not mine. But I do want to, if you do the one for a longer trip, we'll talk about it. However, the one thing we're not going to do, students are not going to ride with other students. So Andrew's not going to turn in a student driving waiver and say, I'm also going to take over Josh Williams and Camp Keels and all these kids are going to ride with me. Absolutely not. That's not going to happen. Now, this gets a little bit confusing, and I'll admit to that. Let's say that Andrew's dad's going to drive him to Hartsville, and he wants Camp Keels to ride with another parent. That's okay. Just turn in the waivers, okay? Not a big deal. If you have any questions about it, you guys have my cell phone number. So that is travel. Let's talk about your athletic gear. We at West Florence and we at Florence One Schools take tremendous pride in the way we look getting off the bus, being on the field. I can say without any reservations, we always look better than our opponents. We are dressed to the nines. My dad taught me a long time ago, you might not be very good, but you better look good. I think Deion Sanders is credited with the famous quote, look good, feel good, play good. So we're at least going to look the part. I am insistent on all of us looking the same. It doesn't make any sense for us to keep spending all this money on all these warm-ups and all these nice uniforms and somebody comes out there and forgets something and messes it up. I have told my coaches, if your kid forgets their stuff, don't play them. That your kids are going to emphasize what's important to them. I forgot my cleats. You never forget your cell phone. You know what I mean? So you're doing things that are important to you. Take care of business. That goes back to winning in relationships and being an adult. Look the same. And there are consequences for noncompliance. One thing I want to touch base with you about, spring sports are unique in that you guys take your uniforms home. In the fall, we wash everything here. In the winter, we wash everything here. But baseball mothers are much better at getting baseball stains out than me. I don't know why we do it this way. We do it. I like not washing clothes all day, every day. So on this slide you're looking at, you'll see some jerseys. Let's pick on baseball first because they're first. This green jersey up here on the top, it's called a sublimated jersey. If I keep looking down, they got a white one right here. That's a sublimated jersey. Soccer, you have the same kind of sublimated. That means the colors are dyed on there. If that stuff sits out wet and it's balled up in a ball in the corner of your room or whatever, A, it's going to stink, but B, the colors are going to run. So the worst thing you can do is let that sit in the laundry bag all weekend. That stuff needs to be treated delicately. Same thing with softball. I'm looking at this picture. Softball stuff, track stuff. Best thing you can do, wash it, hang it up to dry. If you are going to put it in the dryer, it'll be dry in 5 minutes. Don't abuse that thing because those things are, I don't want to say impossible to replace, but COVID has significantly slowed down the process. And so I would not advise against drying that stuff for a long time. So with athletic uniforms, I like you to wash them. Great, keep up the good work. I don't think you should dry them for a long time because you can absolutely hammer those things. That's enough talking about clothes. This is a slide for the student athletes. Your social media, meaning your tweets, your snaps, your Facebooks, your Kicks, your Google Hangouts, and especially your TikToks. They're a reflection of West Florence. They're a reflection of your teammates. They're a reflection of your coaches and of me personally. I never get to turn off that I'm the athletic director. So when I'm at the grocery store on Saturday afternoon or if I'm in church on Sunday morning, I'm still the athletic director. The same is true for you. You're still a soccer player on spring break, and you're still a softball player when you go to a party on Friday night and on down the line. Your freedom of speech does not mean freedom of consequence. And what I really care about is I don't need you to go on your Facebook or your Twitter or whatever you're on and talk about how dumb the coach is because you're not playing. You're all in or you're all out. That's as simple as we can make it. Nobody is bigger than our program. We do not appreciate that. It's obviously it's a terrible look. No team's going to be successful when you have that kind of negative Nancy attitude. Parents, you guys obviously have control of your social media. Put whatever you want to on there, but it's a bad look. Programs are not successful unless everybody's supportive. So that's all I'll say about that. Let's talk community service. West Florence's community service is unmatched in the community. I just want to say it one more time. We do a lot of good stuff. Our baseball team works with the Miracle League very closely. Our softball team does the same thing. Our soccer teams did a huge drive last year for, I think, baby supplies. We have challenged each coach and each team to come up with their own community service project that you can do safely because of COVID. Like our basketball team did the bell ringing for Sam's at Christmas and that kind of stuff. So we want to be involved. We want to be engaged. We don't want to do it for publicity. We just want to get out and help the community and kind of give back. Again, we expect you to do something. We'll tell you to save the date also. April the 6th is the day that we're going to host the Region 1 Special Olympics at West Florence. So I will be using a lot of you guys that day. Go ahead and tell your teachers I'm going to miss that day because you got a lot of work to do around here. I can assure you that no one wants to talk about COVID less than I do. I'm absolutely done talking about it. However, we have to, so I'm going to go over a few things. COVID-19 procedures. We're not doing the temp scans anymore. We're not doing the waivers anymore. I need you guys to understand in like clear English. We are not mandating that you get vaccinated. That's not what we're doing here. What I'm telling you as the athletic director at West Florence High School is if student A gets COVID and student B is exposed to him and is not vaccinated, he is out for a minimum of 5 days. He's also going to have to practice 2 days. In addition to those 5, he's going to miss 2 more from competition because he's got to practice. So let's say one of those days is a game day. He can't practice that day. So if you're out because you're not vaccinated, you're going to miss a lot of games. If you are vaccinated, you do not get sent home. You don't miss school. You don't miss games, period. Now, if you're symptomatic, that's one thing. But if you have a vaccination, you are not going to be sent home. That's as simple as I can put it. Obviously, these things should go without saying in whatever year we're in of this pandemic. But use precaution. If you've got symptoms, stay home. Like text your coach and say, hey coach, not feeling good. Just going to stay home today. Cool. Thanks for not getting us sick. If you are sick, stay home. Don't risk our season and our success because you're selfish. Okay. The worst thing you can do is come and say, I don't really feel good, but I'm here. I'm going to play. Then you expose everybody on the bus, and we got to take 5 days off. That's not good for anybody. So use your head. You guys have been in this long enough to know what you're doing, and that's pretty much all I got to say about that. So let's talk about tickets. You guys are going to want to buy tickets, obviously. This is our website, f1s.org/West Florence Knights. And I'm going to do, starting now, I'm going to do a little voiceover here of how to get tickets. So I'm going to go to my internet browser. I'm going to type in f1s.org/West Florence Knights. Now, does this work on your phone too? Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to go here. What we try to do, and by we, I mean me, what I try to do is every morning go in and get that night's games and put them on our home screen, okay? I don't always do that, but I try really, really hard. For the most part, you go up here, the top right, and click the ticket icon. When you see that, there's a little category. Right now we're in basketball. Once basketball is over, it'll be spring sports, but they'll be categorized. So it'll be like baseball here, softball here, wrestling tickets here. So that'll be like baseball, softball, maybe, I'm not sure, track might be over here. But this is it. The advantage of doing tickets online in our school district is very unique. Tickets in our region are supposed to be $6 for everything. And you got to pay a $1.52 processing fee. That doesn't go to us. We're not getting rich off of that. We promise. That goes to the company that does it. Because Dr. O'Malley wants good environments and wants people here, he knocks $1 off the ticket price. So we are losing money so that you don't. So please don't complain about the processing fee. I promise you we're not getting it. And just to treat you guys well, we're losing $1 on that. So keep that in mind, please. You can also purchase a season pass from the Athletic Booster Club for $75 and no processing fee. If you do that, I will send you a code to redeem your online stuff. If you have any questions about that, you can contact me or you can contact the Booster Club member that I'm sure is somewhere close to you. Guys, I want to end it up and wrap it up by saying thanks for your time. We really appreciate you, and please let us know if you have any questions. Looking forward to a great year. Go Knights.